And welcome back to Who Would Win? Excuse me. And it's still hot. I'm still sweating. But I'm here doing my Who Would Wins. And as always, with the basically starting, that's now the first of the month again. Or actually the second, but first week officially of July. Gotta start with the Who Would Wins, the monthly Who Would Wins. And as I was explaining, or as I explain every time, this time around, it's Planeswalkers from Magic the Gathering. To just sum those up real quick, see if I can do it in 30 seconds. Go. In the game, the card game Magic the Gathering, there's a whole lore and history and things along those lines. There's an odd infinitum, basically a near infinite amount of universes or planes of existence. And Planeswalkers are individuals who can traverse those planes, walk between them. Normally speaking, there are also like spellcasters on warriors, spellcasters, individuals with above average abilities. So that's what we're using. And I got under 30 seconds this time. Right on. And we have moved on now to Lilliana of the Veil, or Lilliana Vess, as I believe her last name is officially. And Lilliana is a necromancer. She can summon the dead, control them. She also commands death magic, allowing her to basically, fire death-like magic at someone and, kill them. So to put her up against someone is tricky because I wanted to try to put her up against someone who has a similar power. What's also really unfortunate is the fact that she's the only Planeswalker I've actually ever done on a Who Would Win prior to this. I put her up against, oh god, what was her name? Exterminator Z, the zombie. Oh god, what was her name? Exterminator Z, the zombie. Well, anyway, yeah, I put her up against her, and I had already done that match, and that was a good matchup, I thought, for her. So I'm like, crap. Who else has necromantic ability? Well, yeah, there's that, but that's like super uber tier. Like, Soren has necromantic abilities, but he would murder Liliana. So then I'm like, okay, Naruto? No. Anyone else in Bleach? No. One Piece? No. And then I'm like, wait, FairyTale? FairyTale! Okay, we got someone in FairyTale. So, Keys, as he's affectionately called. I've also apparently heard it, well, it's Kisu in Japanese, but apparently Keith is also another way to say it, apparently. But we're going with Keys, because that's just better sounding. Is a demon in the FairyTale world. He's like evil, obviously. He's a very silent, mysterious demon, really straightforward, but he's also disturbing. He does not like people at all, so he'll use them as disposable commodities. He is a very powerful demon in the sense that he has a couple of abilities. First and foremost, he's a necromancer. Using this curse as it's put, Keys has the ability to perform necromancy, which allows him to revive and control a deceased person, as seen when he used Crawford Sem to remotely control some person. Activate face. He's able to reanimate hundreds of corpses at a time, which allowed him to determine how much a corpse could behave like its former self. However, corpses revived under Keys' control may only exist for a limited time unless they possess a drying force, such as the case of a character known as Silver. Their desire to revenge against demons allowed him to stay reanimated much longer than other corpses. Furthermore, if Keys is defeated, the corpses will cease to function. Won't matter, because if he's defeated, he's defeated. Judgment of Malefic. Judgment of Malefic Star. He raises his staff, and a dark aura surrounds both him and the staff. He uses the aura to inflict massive darkness aspect damage to a large scale of enemies at once. Although he was never shown to utilize this technique, it's mentioned in the official Tartarus member guild. Okay. Magical barrier particles. Key's body is actually made up of a thick black particle, allowing him to move similar to a mist and cause both magic deficiencies and illnesses, as seen when forcibly exited his body, or when someone exited his body. The said ability allows Keys to deform and reform his body, seemingly at will, to avoid physical and magical attacks, though has been seen utilizing the ability almost unconsciously. Being able to dodge a sneak attack by Gray with no effect at all by morphing his body as soon as the ice-making mage made contact with it. Offensively, he can manipulate the poisonous anti-magic particles in various ways, such as spiraling currents. Sorry, there's a vehicle passing by. A wave or an explosion to attack an opponent. He also has enhanced speed, can travel at high speeds even without getting noticed by enemies. Keith uses his own body to throw sneak attacks. He has a staff, which he uses to attack his opponents, as well as manipulate the magical barrier particles. So he's a demon. He's very powerful. Really, honestly, his real power does not seem to come from his necromancy so much as his just natural, the way his body naturally seems to work. That's where it seems to come from. But he's still a powerful individual in general. Obviously, being a demon, a necromancer, just a powerful demon in general. Lilliana Vess is a human planeswalker from the plane of Dominaria, the world of Dominaria. Now, and excuse me, I'm going to be doing this a little bit because it looks like I have a giant bald. My hairline's receding. No, actually, I mean, probably to some extent, but not the extent that it looked. Just the weather. But she originally was actually was not a terrible individual at all, and she's really not a terrible individual. She's just self-centered, as the black color is. She was once a healer, and she still knows healing abilities, but she is now primarily and predominantly a necromancer and a death mage. Forgive me if you hear something in the background. Yeah, I don't know why it's got louder. It's song, I think. So it allows her basically to command the dead. She can raise the dead. She can raise kind of there's no real limit, though. More is obviously a bit more taxing, but she can control a certain amount, at least like a couple dozen, without any real issue whatsoever. She's also, as I said, capable of manipulating actual death magic, so firing a blast of death magic to just kill or basically incinerate someone. She doesn't really have any physical hand-to-hand experiences, but she can hold her own like just against any normal person. But again, that's not her claim to fame as a magic user. It should be noted that death magic against her would still have an effect, but it would be weakened. Same with like things like darkness aspect, because it's just the nature of her. But that's not to say she's immune to it. So going with that logic, going with that explanation now, who wins the fight? Well, let's say Lilliana planeswalk to the FairyTale world, and one thing or another, you know what? He's a demon. Let's say there's actually a fifth demon that signed her contract. There isn't, but there's only 4. But let's say there's a fifth, and he was the fifth. She goes to confront him. I should note she also possesses an item called the Chain Veil, that is a possessed item of like with spirits in it, but it amplifies her power greatly, but at the cost of like basically just slowly consuming her. So she uses it very sparingly. So between these two, who wins? She confronts them. So initially, if we're going to give them the dead to use in this fight, as we would, we got to say there's a certain amount of people on the field. So let's say there is 100 people on this field. Lilliana immediately commands, raises some to attention, and Keys would as well. So basically, they send their armies of 50-50. They're not gonna. We can't really say they have any special abilities. That's not fair, because it's like, oh, he's got this ability, they got that ability. Every 50 of these, I'll tell you exactly which one has an ability. No, we're not going to do that. But the zombies are going to clash. Unfortunately, right off the bat, Lilliana becomes at a very big disadvantage because she's not a physical fighter. She isn't like some of the other fighters, like Garrick that we had earlier, or Gideon, or who was another one? Soren's a bit more of a physical fighter. Yeah, so she's not a physical fighter really at all. She knows how to at least defend herself a bit, but she's not a physical fighter, particularly when it comes to her magic. So Keys would immediately just, close the difference, close the distance, covering the difference, and, come in and basically just start assaulting Lilliana. Lilliana would maybe try to use some of her dead to block, but he would just dismiss the dead right at the butt, just boom. And here's where Lilliana he's gonna have a hard time cutting it. If he can use his own body against her in multiple ways, poisoning her. The only way I actually see her being able to actually legitimately beat him is by using the Curse Veil, because normal death magic I don't believe she has would work against Keys. But the veil allowed her to kill demons outright. She could kill demons. She's used it, I believe, twice. She used it against Copa Fed, I don't remember the first team's name, but Grizzlebrand, I know she used that against him as well. She didn't use it against the other two because she didn't want to. She didn't want to like bend to its will and be controlled by it. But she did use it against the other two. So it is a capable demon killer. The only way she'd be able to use it though is if he basically let his guard down thinking he had won. So the scenario, the question is, what is the likelihood of that scenario being the majority scenario? Is that the majority scenario? Well, here's how I see it playing out. He would come in, use his body to essentially bind her, and he's going to either like try to consume her or just, smother or kill her. She, however, has enough power in her own black magic, basically, that she could resist it long enough. I think that at this point, she knows she's about to die and she's on her own. She has no one else to help her. She would use the veil because she had no other choice at that point. And enough strength in her to grab it, utilize the power of it, and then just blow him straight to hell. Now, granted, he's got really good reflexes, but I think with the power of the veil, she'd be able to blast him just straight. There's like nothing left of him. Now, that is the scenario where she wins. What is the overall likelihood of that scenario? Is it the majority scenario? I would actually say, yeah, I think that is the majority scenario. The reason I say that's the majority scenario is that Lilliana only uses the veil if she has to, which she would in this case. He seems to have a little arrogance to him that will allow him to get close enough to her to do that, and he would probably gloat a little bit, which she could take advantage of. She has enough power in her own death magic and necromancy to resist his power, even for a short time. So that would give her enough power to basically snag the veil and use it. And her powers are strong enough to kill legitimate demons. Granted, the way demons work in FairyTale are probably not the same as they work in Magic, but still. So I would go Lilliana. I would only go 60-40 though. I would say that Keys probably just manhandles her the majority of the time and just takes her out. The majority of the time. That majority 40, the majority is not a high majority. I think it's the likely scenario, but it's not a high majority. So I would go Lilliana in this fight, the majority. But again, it's only a minor majority. But what do you think? Do you think Lilliana curb stomp him the whole time? Do you think Keys just dominates the entire fight? Do you think it's closer than they made it? Do you think it's further apart than they made it? What do you think? Put in the comments below. Let me know. Thanks for watching, though. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know to get to it at some point. Ideas for who would win. Star Wars, superhero, magic, anything I do on the channel. Put that in the comments below. I'll get to it at some point. Wednesday will be What If, another Who Would Win, Death Battle prediction, another Who Would Win on Friday, Ant-Man and the Wasp Thursday, and that's about it besides the usual stuff. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. It is hot. I'm sorry, I was all over the place. I was a little all over the place. I've been stuttering over my words a bit more lately. It's the heat. I swear to God, it's the heat. Thanks for watching, though. Hopefully this will break at some point.